Singapore's President-elect Dr. Tony Tan says his urgent task is to reach out to all Singaporeans. Dr. Tan says he will try his best to be as effective as possible in executing his role as president. He was speaking at his first news conference after being elected Singapore's 7th president. Channel News Asia's May Wong joins us from the newsroom with more. May?
Now, Andrea, Dr. Tony Tan has won 35.2% of valid votes to become Singapore's new president, and he's determined to engage more Singaporeans and promises to try his best to be as effective as possible in executing his role as president. In his some 45-minute-long news conference, Dr. Tan tackled questions such as how he intends to reach out to more Singaporeans and whether the votes reflected a deep divide in the society. He said Singaporeans have great expectations of the president, and rightly so. Therefore, Dr. Tan said he'll work hard to live up to those expectations. He emphasized that the president works for all Singaporeans and that he'll not be an ivory tower president, just as President S.R. was not. My colleague Imelda Saad has more on that news conference.
Just hours after being elected, Dr. Tony Tan chaired a media conference, and topmost on the minds of the media, what his thoughts were about the tight race and his winning margin of just 0.34 percentage points over his closest rival, Dr. Tan Cheng Bock. Dr. Tan said his results were decisive in Singapore's first past-the-post system.
We should look forward to see what we can do rather than look backwards as to the narrow victory, the votes for the other candidates, and for myself. It's over. Now the question is we have to concentrate on the real work, which is what we can do to make Singapore a better place and give Singaporeans a better quality of life.
His priority? To unite an electorate which some have said are polarized in their political views.
All of us have a common destiny in Singapore, whether you belong, whatever party you belong to, whether you vote for me or did not vote for me, I will continue to work for all of you. And I think in this way, in the coming years, we'll work to try and unify Singaporeans, heal some of the divisions which exist now, and emphasize the need for unity and a common purpose. In this way, I am confident that we will be able to share a common purpose.
As part of the engagement process, Dr. Tan wants to use various platforms such as tea sessions and even online social networks to reach out to Singaporeans. And with an uncertain global economy, Dr. Tan hopes to use his experience to help steer Singapore out of troubled waters.
I have a wide circle of contacts in the global economic field. I keep up with the news. I can share these views with the Prime Minister and the other ministers in private meetings. The Prime Minister and his cabinet will eventually have to make the right decisions. But with the experience which I've had over 30 years, I hope that some of my insights and views will be helpful to the PM and his cabinet when they have to make very difficult and uncertain decisions.
When asked about the role his wife Mary will play, Dr. Tan described how she has always been a pillar of support for him.
I know my wife Mary has always had a deep concern for people in need, particularly for the older folks. I'm sure that she will be a great First Lady, and she will fulfill that position with grace and distinction and make a contribution to Singapore in her own right. But I still look forward to her support for me as I carry out my functions in the presidency.
Now, during the campaigning, there was a lot of talk on the role and responsibility of the elected president in Singapore. Dr. Tan said that he doesn't think the debate on the role of the president will end here. He believes that the constitution will continue to evolve because it's a living document, and he said that he will do his best to try and meet the high expectations of Singaporeans. Dr. Tan will be sworn in as Singapore's 7th head of state on Thursday. Channel News Asia will carry the ceremony live at 7:30 p.m.
It has been a strenuous
And now that the election is over, Dr. Tan said it's time to put the hustings aside. He added that the real work begins today and it's important to focus on what really matters, and that's working together to build a better Singapore for all.